I just realized I'm wearing a gray shirt against a gray background, but I'm too lazy to go change because the shirt is super comfortable and I don't want to. Oh well. I go through these phases of like wanting to record and share my health updates all the time, and in phases of just like being too exhausted to deal with it. So my last health update was in April and a lot has happened since then, but I just like haven't had the energy to film it. People have been asking what's going on, specifically what's going on with my GI doctor and all of that information. So I'm finally getting around to filming a health update. So if you haven't seen my April one, I'll have it linked so you can check it out and just be caught up on what's going on. And I'm gonna just kind of do like a quick overview of some of the other stuff that's been happening and other doctors, but mostly talk about my GI doctor and all of that fun stuff that's happened since then. I just had my second follow-up with him a couple days ago, so thought this would be a good time to film this. Well, as most of you know, probably by now, I got IVIG and I started that and had my first infusion. By the time this video is up, I might have had my second, but I have a vlog. I did a vlog on that and more information about how I got it and everything. So if you're curious about that IVIG journey, I'll have that video linked as well. I think it's 2 videos ago at this point, so you can check that out. My last video also discussed wanting to do IV fluids and my Myers cocktail and glutathione at home because at my port I did get my a doctor to sign off on that, so I do my IV fluids and all my IVs at home, which is great because I can do them on my own schedule, which is fantastic. Also, my last video I discussed my endocrinologist and how I tested for growth hormone deficiency. I still have not gotten my growth hormone covered because he's an out-of-state doctor. It's like this whole process, and honestly I just haven't had the energy to deal with it. And like I got IVIG, so that's been my focus. So it's kind of like on the back burner for now in terms of trying to get growth hormone, which can like contribute to a lot of my issues, but I'm like, I just want to try IVIG right now and I don't know how I'm gonna get this covered, so I'll figure it out later. The next big thing was that I had a tilt table test done. I have an Instagram post that I talked more about that. I'll link it below as well. But basically, tilt table test is to test for dysautonomia, things like POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, like if you have issues with heart rate or blood pressure when you stand up and you pass out. So they strap you to this table and then they turn you to 90 degrees so you're like in a standing position, and they monitor your vitals. And it took 8 minutes before I passed out. The test is supposed to last like 30 or 45 minutes. So obviously I had a positive test for some form of dysautonomia. I'm a little unclear about like what my cardiologist thinks is going on, but she wasn't super helpful. She's just like, okay, you have a positive test, like sit down when you feel like you're gonna pass out. I'm like, great, super helpful. But IV fluids have been helping with that a lot. I'm trying not to get dependent on them because I just don't want to be hooked up to them all the time. And so I do them like once a week-ish, and around my IVIG kind of balances out to basically once a week. And those are helpful. And I take licorice root, which is the natural supplement to help increase blood pressure because my blood pressure is super low. I tried to take Florinef, but I get all the side effects, so that didn't work for me. So I'm kind of just doing licorice root, tons of salt, and IV fluids for now. But that tilt table test is relevant to all the GI stuff I'm going to get into, so because I'll talk about that in a minute. So let's just do a quick GI update. So the last time I talked to you guys, I had seen my GI doctor for my initial eval. He's in LA, I'm in Colorado. I flew out to see him and paid out of pocket for everything because I felt it was necessary. Also, he doesn't take insurance anyways. But he's supposed to be one of the best in the country. He understands Lyme, he understands mast cell activation syndrome. So woohoo, he like seems to get it. So I did a ton of testing with him and I talked about that last time. I'm just gonna kind of go over those results and what he recommended and then what we talked about in my follow-up the other day. So I have my notes here because there was a lot. So the first thing was I had done I don't even know if I said this in my last video. I had a spinal tap done and we sent some of that fluid to IGeneX and to test for Lyme and co-infections. All of that was negative. And basically at this point, like what we believe is that and most of my doctors think is that my Lyme is possibly or close to being in remission. I'm really dealing with the damage that was done from the infections in my body and from all the heavy duty treatment. So I'm trying to do a lot of repair. IVIG with supplemental support, supporting my body and immune system and healing and detox. So all of that was negative. I know that's like not 100% accurate all the time, but it was negative. Then let's see, we had done mold testing, mycotoxin testing, urine testing through, I think it was Great Plains Labs, and I had some increases in some food-based molds, but none of like the like black mold or mold that's from like water leaks in buildings and stuff. So I had none of that, which is really great. The food-based mold, my doctor wasn't too concerned about. He was like, well, be more careful about what you eat. And when I get into more what I'm talking about, like we're supporting my system to be able to detox and function better and properly, and he feels like that will be able to flush out any like slight mold buildup is getting my detox pathways really open. So that's kind of the issue with the mold, not too concerning. We also did a SIBO test, which was negative. I hate SIBO tests, but my SIBO test was negative. It was kind of weird because it was negative by the current standards, but it was positive based on the criteria that was set before this. And the way they determine the criteria is it's not really like super scientific. They put a bunch of doctors in a room and the doctors are just like, well, I think this should be the criteria, because SIBO is still being like studied and evaluated and stuff. And I have a whole video on SIBO that I just posted before this. I'll have it linked as well, where I talk a lot about SIBO and what that is and treatment and everything. But because of my symptoms like aren't super strongly pointing to SIBO, we didn't feel like it was necessary at this point to treat, because it felt like some other things needed to be addressed first to make sure that, because it was like pointless to treat SIBO if my gut isn't even healed and my immune system isn't even strong enough to like support my body and take care of the SIBO on its own. It's a little confusing, I think. I'm a little brain fogged. Sorry. Basically, it just didn't seem like the right time to treat SIBO. I didn't feel like that was the most pressing issue. I didn't have any other tests that suggested fungal infections or infections in my gut, which is great. So we just wanted to focus on some other things first that I'm going to get into in a moment. I did have a stool test which showed low secretory IgA, which is really important for healing your gut and protecting your gut lining. I also had low butyrate levels. And butyrate is basically the energy of your intestines. So like you need butyrate and secretory IgA. So both of those were super low for me. So we are trying to get those up with some supplementation. I'm going to talk about in a moment again. I also did testing for glyphosate, which showed like very low levels. My doctor was like, well, don't eat GMO foods. I was like, I don't. He's like, I'm really not concerned. It's super low. As we open up your detox pathways, I think you'll be able to clear out the little bit that's in your system, but it's not a concerning amount. And you're doing the glutathione IVs, which is going to help clear that out as well. So then I had a test for testing basically my mineral and vitamin levels, like in my cells, like what actually gets absorbed and used within my cells, not just like blood levels. And that showed it was super low in most of my vitamins and minerals. And what's super interesting is that when I get blood tests done, my vitamin D levels should come back as normal or high, but my vitamin D was the absolute lowest when it's shown like what my body is actually absorbing and able to use. So that's an issue. Just put back on some vitamin D supplementation, a specific kind, to really get it into my cells and help that. So basically what happened is he was like, all right, we looked at all these test results, and he's like, we need to support your system. Like we really need to put you on a ton of supplements that basically help you absorb your nutrients, make sure you're getting enough of them, help heal your gut lining. Like I'm on butyrate, I'm on some other things that help intestinal gut lining healing. All my B vitamins were low. He's like, we need to get those up for energy. He gave me a ton of them, and I paid hundreds of dollars for all these supplements and could handle like 5 of them. A bunch of them, once I got them, realized they had glycerin in them, which I don't personally tolerate. Really messes with my gut, so I couldn't take like half of them because they had glycerin. One of them ended up having turmeric, which gives me mast cell reactions, so I couldn't take that. But I slowly worked in a bunch of other ones for gut healing and vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. And one of the other tests that we got back that my endocrinologist actually ran was the oxytocin level test. I want to show this to you. Hold on. So my endocrinologist, and my GI was really on board with this. He wanted me to run it, but my endocrinologist had suggested it or prescribed it first, whatever. Sent in the order form. It's an oxytocin level test that is run through Meridian Valley Labs, and it tests, like, it's a urine test that tests the oxytocin level. Most of you probably know what oxytocin is. It's the love hormone. It's released with touch. It's actually really important for a lot of functions in the body, and the adult reference range is 250 to 1300. Mine was 112, so I don't want to like show you all of my information, but I don't know if you can see this bottom bit here. So mine was 112. So super low levels of oxytocin, which I'm not like super surprised about because I have gut issues, and also because I'm spending a lot of time by myself indoors, so like I'm not getting those levels like boosted through human contact. But oxytocin is really important for gut healing, actually. So Meridian Valley Labs, when you run this test, they tell you this test is not for diagnostic reasons, like this is for research purposes only. And so there's still a lot of research being done on it, and they have, I'll link it, but they have an article on their website where they've done a lot of studies about the connection between oxytocin and a whole bunch of health issues, and so it's really important for a lot of your health. And there's a few ways you can get it up. Actually, really light wind, like directly on your skin, because it's that touch feeling, so it boosts oxytocin. Really light massage, obviously, like getting, my doctor suggested deep tissue massage with like really light touching at the very end for the last 15 minutes. And then another way is through a nasal spray that has the oxytocin hormone. So my GI had suggested you can order like Oxy Love off of Amazon, but then my endocrinologist suggested that I actually get it compounded to be, because it's a hormone, like get the proper dosing and everything. But I didn't seem to be able to tolerate it. Like it really upset my gut, so I haven't been taking that. And I'm not like, I don't know, I just can only do so many things at once, you know? So I thought that was really interesting. I thought a lot of you would be interested in it, but it's not something I've really focused on right now because I don't have the energy to. So that was like my first round of GI doctor. And then my follow-up, and I basically like, look, I can't tolerate any of these supplements. And for him, that was like really eye-opening, or like good feedback, because he was like, okay, now I understand like how sensitive you actually are. What we figured out is like I have a lot of motility issues. Like everything just kind of sits in my gut. I deal with so much bloating and constipation. It feels like I eat and everything just like sits there and never moves through my system. And he's like, well, and then he got my tilt table test results, and it was like, you have dysautonomia, you have autonomic nerve system damage, which from Lyme being in there and like destroying the nerves. And I've talked about this in that SIBO video, but basically we're like, okay, you have damage to the nerves that innervate your whole digestive system, so you're not getting the proper electrical signals to like have things digest and move through your system appropriately. And so he's really glad I'm doing IVIG, because that's supposed to help with nerve repair and help with dysautonomia. So fingers crossed for IVIG fixing all of my problems. Am I right? He's like, there also could be inflammation around those nerves that's not allowing all the signals to get through. So everything's just sitting in your intestines. So that's why it feels like it's sitting in your intestines. So what he wants to do is, I've tried this drug called Linzess. I think a lot of people with IBS have, and it did nothing for me. And that's because it works kind of similarly to the way magnesium works, which also doesn't do a ton for me. I always have to up my doses of that, but basically magnesium just draws water into your gut to like hopefully get things through. But my problem isn't necessarily that everything's too dry, it's that things are just not moving. Like I'm not getting that push, that stimulation. So he's having me try a drug that I have to get from Canada because it's not available in the US. So I do have to pay for it from Canada, but it is designed to stimulate your digestive tract and stimulate those nerves in your small intestine to get things to push through. So I'm doing that with a combination of a very specific type of suppository. He's like, you can keep doing your coffee enemas, but we should add this suppository to actually get stimulation, because what happens is the nerves from your brain come down and they innervate down to your left colon, but the nerves that innervate your like rectum are from your lumbosacral complex, and so it's like a different nerve bundle. So he's like, we need to stimulate from above with the drug from Canada, and then we need to stimulate from below with these suppositories. I can't believe I'm sharing this on the internet, but I feel like people will want to know this. So we're basically just trying to stimulate my gut and build up that nerve function and build up those connections so that my digestive system flows the way it's supposed to, because my motility is terrible. I'm adding ox bile in as well to help with digestion, and basically not a lot of other supplements, like again that special vitamin D, and just supplements I've been able to tolerate so far. I am on a probiotic that was chosen based off my stool test results. I say this all the time, know your stool test results. And then the last thing was that because I've had so much damage to my body, and especially my digestive system and the nerves in that area, we are putting stem cells on the back burner. He's like, hopefully we'll be able to avoid doing stem cells by repairing with IVIG and some of these other like gut healing things, but we need to make sure that we are considering that in the long run, that you might need stem cells to help fully repair your body after so much damage from Lyme and treatment. But it's definitely a last resort, and he's like, there's no point in doing stem cells if we haven't supported your system already, because if we put stem cells in there and we're not even supporting your system, like it won't help long term. So we're trying to do as much as we can to see if it helps before we need to see if we actually need to do stem cells, but that's on the long list of possible treatments. So I think that's everything. So overwhelming, but my big focus right now is IVIG, because it's really hopefully going to repair a lot of my body. Anyways, that's my health update for July 2018. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below and I will get back to you. I'll try and be more on top of filming a health update. I don't know why I say that, because I'm just going to do it when I want to do it, but I'll try if y'all want it. And have some other vlogs and stuff coming up, so hopefully you enjoy that. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like hearing my health updates and learning what treatments and things I'm doing and how I'm doing. And be sure to hit that little red subscribe button to help support my channel, which I love when you guys do. All right, I will see you next time.